Hey Cowboys Nation, this is Tony Romo back with another video. This week's video is an NFC East update where we go around the table and check up on all of our enemies and see exactly where they are. And maybe give my opinion about a few updates that have happened since Thursday night for Dallas Cowboys. Let's take a first look at the first team, who is obviously at the top of the NFC East. With all the other teams losing out on their season opener, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I'll just say this. Obviously they won, and they took care of the Atlanta Falcons on the road. Good teams, they take care of the games that they're supposed to. They're not supposed to make it hard on themselves, and they're supposed to go out there and do what they're supposed to do. And that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles did. Despite how you feel about them, despite whether you hate them or not, they did exactly what maybe the Giants should have done against Denver at home. And I'll get to that here in a little bit. But I'll say this, I'm not too worried, obviously, because it's very, very, very early in the season. But they played a very confused Atlanta organization. They're still trying to figure out things and what they should do, how they should do it with the new coach, and Matt Ryan just kind of being the only piece cemented there. So I don't think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be contenders this year, but granted, they're still figuring things out. And the Eagles took advantage of that, and they won a game that they were supposed to. The Eagles are very talented offensively, and they have a lot of good effort in Philly on the defensive side. And so they're absolutely in this race. Any team in the NFC East is, but they did something that, out of the four opponents, out of the four teams in the NFC East, they were one of the two that were able to go out there and take care of their business. So we'll see in week 3. We'll see how they react week 2. I think week 2 will probably give us a lot more to dig our hands into. But week 2, the second team that we're looking at here is the Washington football team, which I think, hands down, they have the best, most ferocious defense. They have the best defense in the NFC East. And if you think otherwise, they won the division last year, and they're picking up right where they left off. They were up against a really solid team that I think is going to have a really good season, the Los Angeles Chargers, who we play here in week 2. I'm going to hold off on my thoughts on that game because I'm going to save that for the pregame video. But if Washington can just figure out their quarterback situation, Fitz is obviously on IR. Heineke's very fun to watch, but he's not the long-term solution there in Washington. If they can somehow figure out a quarterback that they can stick with and run a solid offense out of, this team has a legit chance at repeating and being contenders. Again, I know how much you guys are hating me hearing say this because maybe you just want to go to a Cowboys channel where, hey, Cowboys are going to take it every year. That's not true, and that has not been the case in the past 10 years. So I think the more realistic we can get with these actual teams, the less frustrated we will be on Sundays when sometimes we might lose to them. So Washington has a good team out there. If they can figure out their offense, the sky's the limit for them. They played a good Chargers offense out there, and they put a lot of pressure on Herbert, and they almost gave him a loss. But Herbert is the real deal, and he came out of there with a W. And it's going to be very interesting to see us against him this coming Sunday. I'm holding off. I have a lot to say about it, but I'm going to hold off for the pregame. Lastly, the New York Giants. They have a lot of talent. And they should have won a game against the Denver Broncos. They should have won. They have a lot of defensive pieces set in place to be a solid defense, and they really have an offense that is able to overachieve, despite what you may think about the quarterback position over there. But if you watch that game, and I watched a little bit of it, and I was jumping between games Sunday, you couldn't help but put yourself in their shoes as fans. And as Cowboys fans, we've seen a lot of talent come to Dallas in the past 10, 20 years, and we've seen a lot of unfulfilled expectations. And I kind of got that feeling for the Giants week 1. Maybe they could figure out, but it kind of just seems like a mess. Jason Garrett, not really sure what he's doing on offense, and he has a lot of weapons there that he could definitely put together an above-average offense. An efficient offense, and that definitely didn't show up. So we'll see how they do. They're definitely a disappointment, and I kind of don't see them. if I could have a sleeper pick, it may have been the New York Giants, but they got to figure themselves out. And so that's where the NFC East is at. Obviously, your boys are 0-1, and they probably showed the most promise, the most, if we could count moral victories, they were up there. But let's talk about the updates for the Dallas Cowboys throughout the week, because a lot of stuff has happened since this past Thursday. Zach Martin's coming back, but as the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Because as Zach Martin is coming back from COVID, we have, you could either go with two of them. We have Randy Gregory going onto the COVID list, but also sticking on that offensive line, we have La'el Collins being suspended for 5 games. I believe it's 5 games, which is... At first, I was very angry. Let me talk about La'el Collins first. I was very frustrated. I was like, come on, guys. This is supposed to be our season where we're supposed to have all of our pieces in place. But if you read more into that story, it gets a lot more interesting. That is all I have to say on the matter. At the end of the day, we focus on football on this channel, and he's not going to be there for a while. He's not going to be there. Maybe it might be 5 weeks. Maybe it might be a couple weeks. Who knows? But all I know is he's not going to be there for the Chargers game, and that's a huge loss because he's supposed to cover Joey Bosa, and rumor has it, and I think it was just announced in the press conference, Terrence Steele is going to be the guy to guard Joey Bosa on the right tackle position. Again, I'm going to save it for the pregame. I'll just say that the Cowboys really love to make things very hard on themselves more than it should be, because there's an obvious choice here on what to do, but for whatever reason, we're not doing it. Anyways, Randy Gregory is on the COVID list. It's expected he's not going to be there Sunday at SoFi Stadium against the Chargers. That hurts us a lot because we didn't get any pressure on Tom Brady on opening night. And you guys saw my video. We didn't get any pressure. We got turnovers, sure, but we need to get pressure on a quarterback, even if it's Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is more mobile. He's not Tom Brady, where Tom Brady's going to be in the pocket. Herbert can spread out the field and he can extend the play. If we can't get pressure, he's going to do exactly what Tom Brady did to us on week 1. He's going to throw, and he's probably going to get 350-plus yards against our secondary because our secondary is not that good to get away with the bad defensive line. So that's going to affect that, and I believe that's it because we had Zach Martin, we had Randy Gregory. Oh, Michael Gallup was our last injury, out 3 to 5 weeks with the sprain. I don't know how to... Tell me how you guys feel about this. But I think if we were to lose one of our 3 receivers between Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup, I'd feel the most comfortable losing Michael Gallup. That's just me. CeeDee really dominates in that slot position, and Amari Cooper is that number 1 option. I feel comfortable. Obviously, you don't want to lose Gallup, but if there's one person that we would have lost, tell me how you feel about that one. But other than that, guys, that's your NFC East update. That's the update with the Dallas Cowboys stuff this week. I will be back with the pregame video going over the Chargers and the Cowboys and giving my prediction for this Sunday. I will see you then. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter at TonyGoatRomo.